Okay, so for part 2 of our instrumentation, so we have a Beer's law. So Beer's law states that the concentration of unknown substance, ito yung ating sample or yung ating specimen, is directly proportional to the absorbed light and inversely proportional to the amount of light transmitted. Okay? Yung transmitted light kasi, ito yung ilaw natin. For example, 100 yung ating ilaw. Pagdaan niya sa cuvette, yung ating cuvette will absorb light. Okay? Sabihin natin, yung ating cuvette can absorb 60% ng ating ilaw. So, matitira na lang ay 40%. Itong 40% is yung ating transmitted. Itong 60 is yung absorbed light. So, yung absorbed light natin is directly proportional to the concentration, while transmitted light is inversely proportional to the concentration. Okay? Mathematically, it established the relationship between concentration and absorbance. So, ito yung formula natin na ginagamit when we are measuring samples using light absorbances. Okay? So, percent transmittance. It is the ratio of the radiant energy transmitted divided by the radiant incident on the sample. So, yung ating incident, ito yung ilaw before pumunta doon sa sample at yung transmitted light natin is yung after pumunta sa sample. So, it is measured by spectrophotometers to derive the concentration of the unknown. Again, unknown yung ating sample. Okay? So, ganito yung formula niya. Percent transmittance, incidence over intensity of striking light, incidence over transmitted. So, ito po yung incidence light natin. Ito yung transmitted times 100. So, where IT is transmitted light through the sample, yung dumaan sa sample. IO is intensity of light striking from the sample. So, let's say, ito yung sample natin. Okay? So, yung light source natin, ilaw, tatama sa sample, itnalampas sa sample. Ito yung ating incidence light, hindi pa natama sa sample, and yung ating transmitted light, yung dumaan na sa ating sample. In actual practice, light transmitted by a blank is substituted for I0. Yung blank na tinutukoy, ito yun, yung blank signal pin, siya po ay yung, ito for example, another cuvette, pero si cuvette, ang laman lang nito ay either reagent or water. Wala po siyang specimen. Okay? So, yung ilaw, padadaanin natin dito. At ito po yung ginagamit natin na transmitted light. Okay? So, yung dumaan sa ating blank, yung ginagamit for the transmitted light. So, para po itong tearing. Okay? We want to measure the content lang habang tinatanggal yung absorbance or yung transmittance ng cuvette. Okay? Okay, so another example. So, yung incidence light natin, dadaan sa ating cuvette. It will produce. Okay, so incidence light natin, dadaan sa ating cuvette. Ito yung cuvette na syempre mag-absorb and it will transmit and ito po yung ating readout device. Okay? In blanking, yung cuvette natin, yung cuvette kasi natin, yung glass nun, it has its own transmittance. Okay? It absorbs light yung ating lalagyan. Parang tearing na nabanggit kanina. Tearing, di ba? We want to measure yung laman lang habang tinatanggal natin yung lalagyan. Okay? In order to measure yung laman nito, magba-blank muna tayo. Yung blank po, it's either reagent, sample, or water, or yung blank lang mismo. Kapag sinabing blank lang, usually it is distilled water lang. So, distilled water, walang laman. So, ibig sabihin yung distilled water, wala dapat siyang absorbance. Dito, yan, pag tama nung light source natin, walang absorbance yung ating water. So, 0 po yung absorbance nito. Ang magkakaroon lang ng bawas from our incident light to the transmitted light is the transmission or the absorbance of our cuvette. Para pagbasa ng ating sample, automatic babawasin na yung light ng ating cuvette from the sample. Okay, para lang tayo nag-tear din dito. Okay, absorbance naman. So it is amount of light absorbed. Again, it is like inversely logarithm of transmittance. The more light absorbed, the less light transmitted. Okay? So it cannot be directly measured by the spectrophotometer. Di siya kayang sukatan. Kino-compute siya. It is mathematically derived from percent transmittance. Okay? Ano po yung formula natin? Absorbance is equal to ABC or 2 minus log percent transmittance. So, pipindutin nyo lang po ito sa calcu. 2 minus, pindutin yung log. Then, kung ilan yung transmittance. For example, pindutin sa calcu 2 minus log. For example, yung percent transmittance natin ay 80. So, pindutin lang po 80. Tapos, pindutin na ang equals. Ayan. So, makukuha mo na yung absorbance. Now, some machines, automatic pinocompute na yung absorbance. Yung iba naman naka-transmittance pa. Okay, so depende, you have to check with the manufacturer, you have to check with the machine if ano yung ibibigay niya sa'yo. If transmittance pa ba or automatic, kinompute na niya to absorbance. Okay? Now, ito na yung Beer's Law natin. Si Beer's Law ay Cu, concentration of unknown, over concentration of standard, is equal to absorbance of unknown over absorbance of standard. Okay? We derive a formula to get the computation. Concentration of unknown is equal to absorbance of unknown times concentration of standard divided by absorbance of standard. Okay? Yung unknown po, unknown is our sample. Sample. Kapag sinabing standard, so standard is a substance with a known concentration. May mga standard tayo per specific analyte. For example, glucose. So si glucose, meron siyang specific na concentration ng standard na gagamitin natin to calculate sa ating Beer's Law. Okay, so ipapalit natin yung value ng standard dito sa ating formula. So concentration of unknown, ito yung specimen natin. Absorbance of unknown. Itong absorbance of unknown, galing to sa wavelength kapag pinadaan na natin sa sample. Ayan. Okay? So, absorbance ng ating sample sa machine. Concentration of standard, makukuha natin to sa ating insert. So, for example, sabihin natin cholesterol. Ang concentration ng standard ng cholesterol is 200. Okay? Then, absorbance of standard. So, yung standard, ito yung standard natin, babasahin din natin. So, from the incident light to the transmitted light, we'll get its absorbance. Then, we substitute. For example, ang absorbance natin ay 0.055. Yung absorbance ng sample natin ay 0.025. Okay? So, kapag kinompute natin, Cu equals AU CS over AS equal to absorbance ng standard. Anong sample? 0.025 times concentration of standard 200 divided by 0.055. Ayan. So, multiply natin to. Tapos, divide natin. Nakuha na natin yung concentration of unknown. Okay? Now, blanking techniques. So, it is used to correct artifactual absorbance readings. Parang yung tearing natin. Again, meron tayong tatlong blanking technique. Kapag reagent blank, yung reagent yung ginagamit natin sa ating blanking. Kasabay na yung cuvette. So, cuvette natin plus yung ating reagent. So, automatic, pag blanking natin, incidence light, transmitted light, babawas na nila yung absorbance caused by color of the reagent. Pag reagent blank, color of the reagent as well as the cuvette itself. Okay? So the absorbance of the reagents is automatically subtracted from each unknown reading. Okay? So yung absorbance nito, automatic ibabawas na doon sa absorbance ng ating sample. Parang pairing nga. Next, kapag sample blank naman, it measures absorbance of the sample and the reagent in the absence of the end product. Okay? So it corrects the measurement for optical interferences like hemoglobin. Ano pa yung interferences natin? H, I, L. H for hemoglobin, I for icteric. Ano ba yung icteric? Ito yung yellow. Yung bright yellow yung ating sample. And L for lipemia. Ito yung ating fats. Ayan o. So ineffective in cases of turbidity due to lipemia. Okay? So kapag lipemia pa, we can employ another technique like ultracentrifugation. So yung ultracentrifugation yung mas mataas yung speed at yung force para ma-separate natin yung layers, di ba? Yung ating chylomicrons or yung fat. Okay, usually itong lipemia ay kapag after mo kumain ng fatty foods like kumain kang bulalo, sisig, crispy pata, lechon, yun ang tinanghalian mo, tapos nagpakuha ka ng dugo. Makikita mo yung sample mo ay lipemic or mataba. Okay? Next principle naman tayo in the measurement of our analytes. We have flame or atomic emission photometry. This is the same as FEP. So it measures light emitted by a single atom. So single atom burned in a flame. So it is used for measurement of excited ions like sodium and potassium. Kailangan lang gumamit tayo ng internal standards to correct the variation in the flame and atomizer characteristics. Paano ba siya gumagana? So substances being exposed to high temperature results in excited atoms which almost immediately return to ground state after giving off their energy. Excitation of electrons from lower to higher energy state, and the concentration of the substance is directly proportional to the amount of light produced. For example, ito po ating sodium. Si sodium, i-spray natin yan dito sa ating reaction area or reaction chamber. Yan, so sodium po ito lahat. Now, itong sodium na to, lalagyan natin ng heat. Pag nakita nyo itong triangle na ganito, heat yan. So we are putting heat, we are giving energy. Now, si energy, nung init natin, i-absorb ng ating sodium. So si sodium ngayon, yan, bibigay siya ng energy din. Okay? So pagbigay niya ng energy, itong energy na to, babasahin siya ng detector at kung gaano ka-intense yung light natin, ganun kadami yung ating concentration kasi siya po ay directly proportional. So the higher the light produced or the higher the intensity of the light, the higher the concentration of our sample. Okay, parts of our flame emission, we have gas, so it is the source of the flame kasi again, painitan natin. So it's a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen, pwedeng natural gas, acetylene, propane in conjunction with O2 and air. So flame temperature should be held constant. Again, dapat sakto lang kasi we want to excite yung atoms natin. Atomizer or burner, it introduces heat into the atoms. Light source, so each element produces an individual characteristic wavelength. So dito, yung light source natin is yung analyte na mismo. Kanina, dun sa spectrophotometry, meron tayong mga bulbs. Ngayon, ito na mismo. For example, sodium, siya na yung magliliwanag at kapag sodium po, it produces yellow. Kapag potassium naman, again, after natin painitan, mag-release siya ng liwanag, color violet. Magnesium, color blue. Lithium and rubidium, color red. Okay? So, depende sa analyte kung ano yung ating color at yung intensity. So kasi pagbigay ito ng ilaw, yung ilaw na ito again, i-measure ng photodetector, the higher the light or the brighter the light produced, the higher the concentration of the analyte. And translate, again, we want to measure yung analytes lang kasi kanina meron tayong apoy, di ba? So yung flame natin, it still produces light. So in order to prevent that, yung ating analyte lang yung ating gustong papasukin sa entrance slit. Monochromator, again, kagaya din nun, we can isolate the specific wavelength. So para yung color lang ng ating analyte at hindi kasama yung apoy. Exit slit, the same with the description of our spectrophotometry and detector. So medyo na iba yung detector dito. It requires water and standards to establish thermal equilibrium. Kailangan constant at maganda yung ating heat. Internal standards, it provides a reference point in sample, control, and standards. It corrects the variations in flame and atomic characteristics or atomizer. So it minimizes the effects of change in flame and temperature as well as aspiration rates. So it acts as a radiation buffer to reduce the effect of mutual excitation. For example, kapag sodium and potassium, gagamit tayo lithium and cesium. Kapag lithium naman, potassium and cesium yung ginagamit natin. Now, flickering light indicates changes in fuel readings of the instruments. Yung ating, pag nag-flicker kasi yung light, ibig sabihin, yung fuel natin hindi constant. Okay? So, yung pag-flicker niya, yung pagpatay buhay niya, pangit yung magiging resulta niya kasi hindi consistent yung light measurement natin. Magpa-fluctuate yung ating absorbance. For example, supposedly ganito lang yung reading natin, magaganon-ganon siya. Okay? Kasi nga po, nagpa-fluctuate yung light natin, yung ating fuel. Instead na nasusunog na natin yung ating sodium at mauubusan natin, ma-measure na natin, nagpa-fluctuate siya. Masusunog, may nawala yung apoy. Masusunog, nawala yung apoy. Masusunog, mawala yung apoy. Okay? Flame emission photometry is not routinely used. Madalang yung may laboratoryong gumagamit nito and hassle siya. Kasi nga po, gumagamit pa po tayo ng heat and standards na madami. Next, atomic absorption spectrophotometry or also known as AAS. So it measures light absorbed by the atoms. So light absorbed naman the atoms. Used for measurement of unexcited. Kanina excited yung ating electrolytes na ginamit, sodium and potassium. Ito naman unexcited and trace minerals like calcium and magnesium. Paano siya gumagana? It measures the amount of light absorbed by the element sample in unexcited, unionized state or the neutral atom ground state from dissociated in chemical bonds. So ground state atoms absorb light at defined wavelengths. So measures light absorbed by ground atoms. So it's inverse of a flame photometry. Kanina sa flame emission photometry natin, yung light produced by excited atoms. Ito naman, we are measuring light absorbed by our atoms. Okay? Kagaya siya ng ating spectro. So, nababawasan. Or, and, inversely proportional siya sa ating flame emission. So, the lesser the light transmitted, the more concentration of our analyte. Kasi na-absorb siya. Pag maraming na-absorb na ilaw, mas mataas yung concentration ng ating analyte. So after the flame dissociates the element from chemical bonds, the atom remains in ground state and the amount of light absorbed is measured rather than emitted. Emitted light sa FEP. Dito sa atomic, it's the absorbed. Okay? So kung mas mataas yung absorbed light, mas mataas yung ating concentration. So kapag mababa yung transmitted light, mas mataas yung ating atomic absorption. Kasi nga po, maunti na lang yung natatransmit kasi na-absorb na ng ating sample. Sa FEP naman, pagliwanag, pagdami ng sample kasi yung liwanag is nakadepende kung gaano kadami yung sample na nasusunog. So AAS is more sensitive than FEP. It is used for detecting small amounts of heavy metals. And reference method natin siya for calcium. Pag sinabing reference method, hindi po common. Hindi po sinasabing common. Okay? So it is the best method to be used for measurement of calcium, pero it is not always the most commonly used. Okay? Pwedeng commonly used, pero hindi lagi. Okay? Depende lang sa ating procedure. So sample is atomized in the flame. Halimbawa, yung ating calcium. So calcium tayo. I-atomize, i-spray din siya sa ating apoy. Atoms of the metals to be quantified are maintained at ground state. Beams of the light from the hollow cathode lamp is passed through a chopper in the flame. So ground state atoms in the flame absorb the same wavelength. Okay. So yung apoy natin, yung ating, ito na yung ating elements, yung atoms. Okay. Now may light source tayo dito. Ayan, si hollow cathode lamp. Okay. Now, papapasukin siya pagkadaan sa kanyang monochromator din or sa chopper natin. So ground state atoms in the flame absorb the same wavelength from the hollow cathode lamp. Okay, yan. Papatamaan siya. Light not absorbed by the atom is measured as decrease in light intensity. So ito yung ilaw, tatama daw sa elements or sa atoms natin, mababawasan. So from halimbawa 3, light, pinatama natin, isa na lang yung lalabas. So light not absorbed, ito na po yun. Transmitted light or light not absorbed. It's measured in decrease in light intensity, and the difference of the light leaving the hollow cathode lamp and the amount of light measured by the detector is indirectly proportional to the concentration of the analyte. Meaning, the lesser light transmitted, higher concentration of sample. Okay? Pag maunti lang yung transmitted light, madami yung na-absorb ng ating sample. Components or parts, we have hollow cathode lamp. It is the source of our radiant energy. It filters gas such as neon or argon in the place inside the lamp. Nebulizer or atomizer. So, ini-spray kasi para maging atomic. So, it converts ions. So, ionic part natin into atoms. So, it sprays our sample into the atomizer. Next, chopper. So it is used to modulate the light source. So para siyang slits lang din natin kanina. So halimbawa ito yung light source natin, the hollow cathode lamp. So liwanag na dadaan. So syempre magliliwanag yung lamp natin. The chopper can select or limit or modulate the light that will pass through. Monochromator. So monochromator, for example, prism, it will select what wavelength that we need. And yung slits natin, kung ano yung wavelength lang yung palalampasin. Detector, again, yung detector natin, it measures the intensity of light energy produced from the monochromator. Usually, ginagamit photomultiplier tube kasi atomic tayo, maunti lang yung ating samples dito. In atomic absorption, internal standards is not needed kasi changes in aspirations have little effect lang on the number of ground state atoms. Interferences, chemical, occurs when flame cannot dissociate the sample. Hindi nasusunog. Isusunogin kasi yung sample para mawalan na siya ng energy. Okay, again, hollow cathode lamp, chopper natin. Yung ating atoms, sample to calcium, susunugin natin. Pag nasunog na natin siya, matatamaan na siya ng ilaw. After matamaan ng ilaw, babasahin na detector. Kung ilan na lang yung ating natira from the absorption. Next, volumetric or titrimetric. So the unknown sample is made to react with known solution in the presence of indicator. Okay, ito yung nakulay pag tama na yung concentration natin. Examples is we have Shales and Shales method for chloride and EDTA titration method for calcium. Turbidimetry, it measures the amount of light reduced or blocked by a particle formation. So determines the amount of light blocked or reduction of light by a particle matter in the turbid solution. So the measurement of reduction of light due to the particle absorption. Specimen concentration is directly proportional to the amount of light blocked. Okay? Directly proportional to the amount of light blocked. Pero it depends on the particle concentration and the sample size of concentration and the particle size of our sample. Solution requiring quantities by turbidimetry are measured using visible photometers or visible spectrophotometers. So, paano siya nagana? So, meron tayong light source ulit. Ayan, so light source natin. Then, patatamaan natin ng ilaw. Yung cuvette natin, it contains the sample. Ang problema lang dito kapag turbidimetry, pag turbidimetry, malaki yung particles natin. Okay, yung particles natin, ayan. Now, our particles can block light. Okay, so depende kung gaano kadami yung particles present sa kung gaano na lang kadami yung light na lalampas. Okay, now, pag unti nung light na lumampas, pagdami ng ating sample or directly proportional na tayo. The specimen concentration is directly proportional to the amount of light block. So, pagdami nung na-block natin, pagdami nung sample natin. Okay? Kung kakaunti lang yung sample natin, let's say ganito, yan, and kakaunti lang yung sample natin, madami po yung lalampas. Okay? Pero pag sobrang dami nung laman ng ating sample, konti na lang yung light na lalampas. Saan natin siya pwedeng gamitin? So, detection of bacterial growth in broth solutions. Pag broth solutions, ito po ay sa sa micro. Broth solutions is nasa fluid, yung ating media. Okay? Pagka madaming na-block, ibig sabihin maraming bacteria present. Antibiotic susceptibility, sa micro po ulit ito. Coagulation. Sa coagulation studies, we want to determine if magkakawat na or mabubuo yung ating sample. For example, ayan, yung ating plasma. If magkaklat na siya or nagkakaroon na ng fibrin clot sa loob, yan. And if we use the spectro or our turbidimetry, again, pagdami ng clots or yung ating turbid sample, pagunti na lang ng light na lalabas. And protein measurement in CSF serum. Malaki-laki kasi yung protein particles natin. Nakakapag-block siya ng light dito sa ating sample. Okay? Again, the concentration of the analyte is directly proportional to the amount of light blocked. Next, we have nephelometry. So nephelometry measures the amount of light scattered by a particular solution. So amount of light scattered is again directly proportional to the number and size of the particles. Dito nga lang, dapat naka-angle tayo with an angle of 15 to 90 degrees for the cuvette. It's used for measurement of large particles like antigen and antibody. Ito naman ay sa immunology. So, paano siya nagana? So, may light source tayo dito. Yung cuvette natin. So, patatamain natin yung ilaw. Pero, we are after Yan. Ang photodetector natin nandito or pwedeng nandito. Hindi po dito. Okay? We are after the light that is scattered. So, pag tama ng ilaw, tatalsik na siya. Okay? Yung tumalsik na ilaw, yun yung ating susukatin. Okay? Components or parts, syempre we have light source kasi ito po yung magbibigay ng ilaw. Pag tama sa sample, tatama doon sa particles, yung amount of light na ma-measure natin sa specific angle, that's 15 to 15 to 90 degrees. So, around dito lang po tayo magme-measure. Ito yung measurement range natin. Ito po ay no measurement. Okay? Mercury arc lamp. Ito po yung iba't ibang light source na pwedeng gamitin. Tungsten filament, LED, or laser. Next, collimator. So it's a device that produces a beam of parallel rays. So same tayo with the different parts. Monochromator, cuvette, stray light trap, and photodetectors. Now, in nephelometry, the sensitivity depends on the absence of background scatter from from scratched cuvettes and particles in the reagents. Again, kailangan po maganda yung cuvettes natin. If may mga gas-gas, yung gas-gas din kasi or yung scratches can interfere with the measurement. And we can use it for antigen, antibody complexes or sa immunology natin. Okay, so we'll cut it again. This will be the end of part 2 of our instrumentation.